My phone started blowing up, texts, calls, even emails from people I hadn't spoken to in years. "Are you okay? Have you seen what Brooke posted? Everyone's talking about it." I excused myself from a meeting and checked Facebook. There it was. Brooke had posted an old photo of me and Oliver along with this insane rant. "Meet my sister Lila, the heartless corporate sellout who's making our elderly parents homeless. She swooped in after 15 years of silence to steal their house and is threatening to kick them out unless they pay her back, all while she sits in her fancy house making 6 figures. Oh, and she's a terrible mother too. Her poor son is being raised by nannies while she climbs the corporate ladder. Toxic family gold digger." The comments were a complete dumpster fire. People I went to high school with. Distant relatives. Even some of my parents' neighbors. All piling on about what a monster I was. Some were even tagging my workplace trying to get me fired. But what made my blood boil wasn't the lies about me, it was that she dragged Oliver into it. Used his picture without permission. Made him part of this garbage. Then my phone rang. It was Oliver's school. My heart dropped. "Ms. Simmons, this is Mrs. Gutierrez from the front office. Oliver is quite upset. Apparently some of his classmates have been showing him social media posts about your family." I felt sick. My hands were shaking as I told my boss I had a family emergency and raced to Oliver's school. When I got there, he was sitting in the counselor's office, eyes red from crying. "Mom," he said in this small voice that broke my heart, "why is Aunt Brooke saying those things about us online?" My friend Jake showed me on his phone. I knelt down and hugged him tight. "Sometimes adults don't handle their problems very well, buddy. What Aunt Brooke did was wrong. None of what she's saying is true. She said, 'You're a bad mom,'" he whispered into my shoulder. I pulled back and looked him in the eyes. "Do you think I'm a bad mom?" He shook his head immediately. "You're the best mom. Then that's all that matters." I took Oliver home and immediately called my friend and lawyer, Vanessa. "I want them out. All of them. Now." "Whoa, slow down," she said. "What happened?" After I explained, she sighed. "I can draw up eviction papers for Brooke and Jason today. But your parents?" "I'm not evicting my parents," I clarified. "Just the leeches living off them." That afternoon, Vanessa drove down from Austin to meet me. Together, we returned to the house. Jason answered the door, looking like he'd just woken up even though it was 2 p.m. "What do you want now?" he sneered. Vanessa stepped forward, all business. "Brooke Matthews and Jason Lee, I'm serving you with eviction papers. You have 48 hours to vacate the premises or we will proceed with formal eviction through the courts." Jason laughed. "You can't be serious." Brooke appeared behind him, arms crossed. "This is my parents' house. You can't kick me out." "Actually, it's my house," I corrected her. "And yes, I can." I handed her a cease and desist letter Vanessa had drafted. "Take down that Facebook post and all other social media posts about me and my son immediately, or face legal action for defamation and unauthorized use of my child's image." Brooke stepped toward me, her face twisted with anger. "You think you're so powerful. You and your little bastard are just leeches, a pathetic single mom dumped by her husband pretending to be strong but still just a miserable failure." I saw red. Before I could think, I slapped her hard across the face. The sound echoed through the room. Her eyes went wide with shock, her hand going to her cheek. Jason yelled and started forward, but Vanessa stepped between us. "You can insult me all you want," I said, my voice deadly calm. "But if you ever mention my son again, I'll make sure you regret it for the rest of your miserable life." My mother was crying in the corner. My father just looked defeated. Jason was glaring at me but staying back. "Sign the papers," Vanessa said, pushing the documents forward. With no other choice, they signed. Jason grabbed a duffel bag and stormed out. Brooke spent an hour packing, then paused at the door. "You'll regret this," she hissed. "I'll make sure everyone knows what kind of person you really are." I shrugged. "Try me." After they left, I sat down with my parents in the now quiet living room. My mother was still sniffling. "Why did you have to kick her out?" she asked. "She's your sister. Biology doesn't make us family," I said flatly. "Her actions do. And she crossed a line when she dragged my son into this mess." My father sighed. We just wanted to help her get back on her feet. That's always been the problem, I replied. You're always helping Brooke, even when it hurts everyone else. I stayed long enough to make sure Jason and Brooke were really gone, then headed back to Austin. The drive home was a mix of emotions, anger at Brooke, frustration with my parents, worry about Oliver, but also a strange sense of relief. Like I'd finally stood up for myself after all these years. The next few months after kicking Brooke and Jason out were interesting. Brooke made good on her threat to trash me online. She didn't stop at Facebook, she went full nuclear. Instagram, Twitter, even freaking TikTok. She created a whole series called My Sister the Monster, where she told exaggerated or straight-up fake stories about me. According to Brooke, I was a neglectful mother who pawned my kid off on nannies, a ruthless corporate climber who'd step on anyone to get ahead, the reason she and Jason were homeless. They weren't. They moved in with his buddy. A manipulative witch who tricked my elderly parents there in their early 60s out of their home. Some coworkers saw it. A few clients awkwardly mentioned it during calls. Oliver's teacher pulled me aside one day to ask if everything was okay at home. I even got called into my boss's office because someone emailed the company about elder abuse. Thank God my boss is cool. I explained the situation, showed her the legal documents, and she just rolled her eyes and said, "Family drama, huh? Been there." The worst part was dealing with Oliver's questions. Kids at school had seen some of the videos and were asking him about it. I tried to explain in a way a 10-year-old could understand. Your aunt is very angry right now, I told him. Sometimes when people are angry, they say things that aren't true. But why is she so mad at you? He asked, confused. How do you explain decades of family dysfunction to a kid? I just said, sometimes people think life should be fair, and when it isn't, they blame others instead of themselves. Surprisingly, that satisfied him. Kids are way more perceptive than we give them credit for. As for my parents, they were adjusting to the new normal. Quiet, subdued around me. They didn't talk about Brooke, just polite conversation and careful compliance with the terms of our agreement. I didn't leave them homeless or charge them rent. But they knew where the boundaries were now. Every month, I'd bring Oliver to visit. Not because I'd forgiven them, but because I wanted him to have grandparents, even if they weren't great ones. Funny thing about social media drama, it dies down pretty quick. People get bored and move on. By month 3, Brooke's posts were getting barely any interaction. By month 6, she'd given up. Entirely. I found out through my mom, who quickly regretted bringing her up, that Brooke and Jason had broken up. Apparently, he cheated on her with some bartender. Karma's a bitch, I guess. Last I heard, Brooke was working as a receptionist at a hair salon in Houston. A far cry from the famous artist my parents sacrificed everything for. I'd be lying if I said I didn't feel a tiny bit of satisfaction about that. But here's where things get complicated. About 7 months after all this, my dad had another heart attack, a bad one. I got the call at 3 a.m. from my mom, hysterical. The ambulance had just taken him to the hospital. I drove to San Antonio in the middle of the night, leaving Oliver with my neighbor. At the hospital, my mom sat alone in the waiting room, looking small and terrified. "Where's Brooke?" I asked. "I called her," my mom said quietly. "She said she'd try to come tomorrow if she could get off work." Translation: her own father might be dying, and she couldn't be bothered to show up immediately. Classic Brooke. The doctor said Dad was stable but needed bypass surgery and a long recovery. I stayed with my mom until morning, then went to the house to shower and change. While there, I noticed a pile of bills on the counter. Many stamped, past due, or final notice. When I confronted my mom, she broke down crying. "We've been trying to make the payments to you, but with your father's medical bills." I just stood there watching her cry. The performance was impressive, but I wasn't falling for it. This was the same woman who stole my college fund. Who never once asked if I had enough to eat while I worked 3 jobs. Funny how I only exist when you need something. I spent the morning going through their finances. It was worse than I thought. They were living on Social Security and a tiny pension. Dad's first heart attack had drained their savings. Then I found something interesting, a receipt for a $500 birthday gift they'd sent Brooke last month. They were skipping payments to me, but still spoiling her. I slapped the receipt in front of my mom. "You're struggling so much you can send Brooke $500 birthday gifts." It was her 30th birthday. We wanted to do something special. "You know when the last time was you remembered my birthday?" "Never. Not once in 15 years. "That's not fair, Lila. We sent you cards. You never sent a thing. Not to me. Not to your grandson." Eventually, I left. My mom followed me to the door. "Please, what about the payments?" "The deal stands," I said coldly. "I'm not being tricked again." "But your father." "My father. The one who sat silently while you stole my future." Her face hardened slightly. "We gave you life, Lila. We raised you. Don't you think you owe us something?" And there it was. The manipulation. The guilt trip. Same old tactics. "I don't owe you anything," I said firmly. "You're not homeless. You have a roof over your heads because of me. But I'm not your ATM anymore." I did hire a home health aide for Dad after surgery. Not for them, but because it was the decent thing to do. I didn't take time off work. I'd wasted enough of my life on them. Brooke showed up exactly once during Dad's recovery. Stayed for 2 hours. Took some selfies in the hospital to post online about being a devoted daughter, then left. Was I too harsh? Maybe. But every time I felt guilty, I'd remember how they took my college fund, how I went hungry while Brooke went to art school, how they never once asked about their grandson. Then something happened that turned everything upside down again. Oliver got suspended for punching a kid at school. The boy had been taunting him, repeating the lies Brooke had posted months ago. Oliver finally snapped. That night, I Googled Brooke. Turns out she'd rebranded herself as a family trauma specialist. She was using our story, a totally warped version, to sell life coaching. She even wrote an ebook called Toxic Sisters: Healing from Family Betrayal. The next day, my mom texted, "Brooke wants to talk to you." Against my better judgment, I agreed to meet her. She looked different, casual clothes, messy bun. But her eyes still had that calculating gleam. "I've been doing a lot of thinking," she started. "About how to monetize our family problems." I snapped. She actually looked embarrassed. "You saw that, huh?" We argued. Then she dropped a bombshell. "I'm broke, Lila. Completely broke. The coaching thing isn't working. Jason maxed out my credit cards. I don't know what to do." I laughed. "Welcome to real life. Please. I need help." "What do you want?" "Money. A job. Can't you help me get something at your company?" "I'll start at the bottom." I stared. "Take down all the content first. Every post. Every video. The ebook. Send me proof. After that, we'll talk. But I need money now." "Not my problem. You created this mess. Live with the consequences." Shockingly, she actually did it. Deleted everything. Sent proof. I called a friend who runs a small marketing firm in Dallas. Told him the truth. He agreed to interview her. No promises. She texted, "Thank you." I didn't reply. This isn't forgiveness. Just containment. Better she earns some money than crawling back to our parents again. As for them, Dad's out of the hospital, but the bills keep piling up. They've started dropping hints about changing our agreement. Not happening. My mom asked if Oliver could stay with them for the weekend. I shut that down fast. They barely know him. I don't trust them not to fill his head with lies. The house is still in my name. It's staying that way. Will Brooke keep her end of the bargain? Probably not. Will my parents ever understand how badly they screwed me over? Doubtful. They're still the same selfish people. Just older and more desperate. But I don't care anymore. I've wasted enough energy on them. My focus is Oliver, and my career. The only things that have never let me down.